Is there any doubt that Pat Smith is your starter for next season?
No, I think there's doubt. I mean, we're hoping against hope that Andrew Creel, I'm going to meet with Andrew today. I don't know what Andrew will tell me, but, we're trying to push the envelope on getting him back. That would be a huge plus to have both those guys, and now to have Pat with the experience that he's gained, and he'll have a lot more in the spring. Whether he can make the same jump that Justin Bouch made, I don't know. But Justin Bouch became a much different quarterback in the spring because of his starts during the year. Pat certainly has the ability to be a good quarterback. He just needs the confidence and more exposure. But whether Andrew's with us or not, we need to recruit with Jeff Campbell. Even we need to recruit some quarterbacks in this class.
Could you see bringing in an experienced quarterback?
If we could find one, sure. Oh, whether it be a backup or as a starter, sure.
Were you soured at all?
Was I what?
Were you soured at all in the junior college ranks with your poor experience with Augers and Cooks, or are those isolated instances that?
Well, the JCs that we had, Tonga I think was an outstanding choice. DeVita, Haltow certainly helped us. Michael G certainly helped us. What we have to remember is that whenever you don't have spring practice with those guys, Michael G will be a much better player next fall than he was this year, but he certainly gave us something that we needed. Wasn't as disciplined because he didn't know it. It took, by the time he got through half of the year, it was like where he should have been after spring practice. But I think those were all moves that I would make again. Jordan Cooks came down to us and Carson Newman, and I was surprised that he left. He didn't lack for ability, and really I thought he was a pretty good guy. He could not, because he didn't outperform Nick Bogelad, he could not reconcile that we placed him behind Nick Bogelad. And rather than fighting through that and doing those things, Augers I do think was a mistake. Just because, from this standpoint, not an ability mistake, but to bring him in without a spring practice, whereas Cooks had that. To bring him in August. Now he is screwed up otherwise, academically, but he had the ability to help us and couldn't learn what he had to learn to help us. So of those 5 guys, 3 of them I think were positives. Cooks, if I saw the same thing, I might do the same thing, knowing what I know. Now, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't. But knowing what I knew then, I don't think it was a bad decision on our part for our needs. I do think that bringing in somebody without spring practice is something that you have to be careful of. I think that's the thing probably the biggest thing that we learned of the 5 guys who we brought in.
I mean, you'll be more skeptical or more.
No, I think we will try to get as many guys in. The problem with our system is that to bring in a Division I transfer is really hard for us, because if there are any drug, social, or non-2.0 issues, they're not getting into IUP. They're not. I have to sign a waiver on every kid saying that I know there are no social issues. Well, why does a guy leave Division I? He leaves because he's not playing. He leaves because he has social issues, or he leaves because he has academic issues. All right. So the best chance for us is to find somebody Nate Tucker. Nate Tucker just wasn't playing as much as he had hoped to.
Is this something that's new?
What's that?
Is this something that's new?
It's
Is this a response to this, is
relatively,
this a response to the Satterfield situation? Or
No,
is that
I don't-
already in place?
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. And I don't have an issue with it. It's just where we are. I don't want to bring in guys who are bums. So when you go to find that mature kid who can come into your program, you're looking at a Division I guy who's not playing as much as he wants to, but has all the other qualities. That's limited. The junior college ranks give you a chance. And last year we kind of did it for the first time. I think we'll do a better job this year, if in fact there are any. But we will follow up on probably half a dozen JCs to see if there are a couple. Now they're going to be recruited by Division I's. The Division I schools generally will not take a JC in August. Now Florida State did that with Tonga, but it's hard. And for Joe Tonga it was hard in Florida State. At least he had a spring here before he came in. And so that's the issue. And so the people we would be recruiting against right now will very likely be a number of Division I teams. And so we'll just have to see if that's possible. So we could bring in no JCs, we could bring in 2 or 3 JCs. But to get someone mature to help us, that's an option that we have. You don't have as many options in Division I because of the baggage that might come with those guys. Now, we wouldn't take a JC that had baggage either. But, that hasn't been the case with the guys we brought in.
You okay with that policy, having to sign off?
Mm-hmm. No, I am. And I think there are times when there are perhaps social issues that you think, hey, this guy deserves another chance. I'm not saying everybody has had an issue doesn't deserve another chance, but it's our policy, and I'm okay with that. I mean, if somebody's toting a gun or selling drugs or has been using drugs, I don't want that.
There's even more pressure on the JUCO kids though, because almost all of them are out of state, so the price tag is higher, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So for a kid like an LT who got out of state tuition,
Who?
LT augers,
Right.
I mean, it's a little bit of waste of money, I guess you could say.
Well, but that's true of every out-of-state guy you take to some extent. I mean, there's nobody hits on 100%, and that's why free agents make it in the NFL. That's a multi-billion-dollar business, and first-rounders don't make it. I mean, we do everything we can to try and evaluate their character, their talent, and you're going to bring guys in, and you're going to have some mistakes, and you're going to have some positives. I mean, we almost. Harad came in here. I want to tell you, based on what I saw on tape, I liked him. I thought he was a developmental kid, and I thought this kid will play by his 3rd or 4th year. He comes in and starts, and I've watched tape for a lot of years. The same with our tailback. I mean, I gave him a ridiculously low number, and he said no, and I was fearful that he was going to be a fat tailback, and I was shocked when he told me he was coming.
Would it be fair to
Ends
say?
up starting our last game. I mean, he started eyebone
Yeah.
fullback, but he ended up starting for us, and he played. How many plays? I mean, he probably played. And we had a pretty good tailback, but he found a way to help us.